It arrives, not with a roar, but with a whisper, slowly suffocating the very air around it. Some say it's an aberration, a glitch in the matrix of sport, born not of flesh, but of pure, unyielding will. For centuries, the gods of tennis have demanded power, grace, and an almost poetic fluidity from their champions. But then, a shadow stretched across the hallowed hard courts. A figure emerged not from the classical molds, but from a different dimension altogether, a realm where logic bends and expectations shatter. Daniil Medvedev, a name that echoes with a strange, dissonant harmony, materialized to redefine the very essence of hard-court mastery. He is not merely a player. He is an unfolding phenomenon, a strategic algorithm cloaked in human form, designed to dismantle, to unravel, to utterly confound the titans who believe they held dominion. His rise was not an ascent, but a methodical infiltration, a quiet conquering of the landscape, piece by calculated piece. The concrete canvases, traditionally the battlegrounds for gladiatorial power, became instead the theaters of his peculiar, relentless craft. Here, under the harsh lights and unforgiving surfaces, Medvedev found his true domain, a space where his unique parameters could fully manifest. He moved with a deceptive economy, a serpentine grace that defied conventional understanding of athletic movement. His presence on court began to cast a long, chilling shadow over the established order, a premonition of a new, inscrutable era. The ball, when it left his racket, often carried an unseen payload, not just spin or pace, but a hidden question, a tactical conundrum designed to expose the smallest flaw, the faintest hesitation in his opponent's psyche. This was the dawn of a new kind of hard-court legend, one who operated less like a warrior and more like an ancient sorcerer, weaving spells of frustration and attrition with every stroke. The grand stages of the U.S. Open, the Australian Open, the ATP Finals became altars where his peculiar genius was observed, revered, and increasingly feared. He was a paradox, a master of deception in plain sight, a monument to the unsettling truth that sometimes the most profound power lies not in overt force, but in an almost supernatural ability to adapt, to absorb, and ultimately to exhaust. His journey from promising talent to undisputed hard-court titan was less a climb and more an inevitability, a preordained path carved by a mind that saw angles and possibilities others simply could not perceive. The hard courts became his chessboard, and every opponent, a pawn in a larger, more intricate game only he truly understood. His game, an assembly of unorthodox strokes, appears at first glance to be a collection of imperfections, a series of stylistic choices that defy textbook coaching. Yet, from these seemingly discordant elements, he forged an impenetrable shield and an unerring weapon. Many junior coaches initially attempted to correct his unconventional forehand grip, unaware they were trying to tame a burgeoning enigma. This seemingly awkward, extended take-back and flat contact point creates a ball that dips, slides, and frustrates with a relentless consistency, lacking the violent topspin of his peers, but possessing a disorienting flatness that eats away at timing and confidence. His backhand, too, is a marvel of re-engineered mechanics, a low, two-handed flick that generates incredible depth and accuracy, often used to redirect pace with minimalist effort, transforming incoming power into an outgoing headache. These aren't just strokes. They are instruments of psychological warfare, each shot a probe into the weaknesses of his adversary, not just physical, but mental. His strategic depth is not merely about shot selection. It's a deep dive into the very fabric of the match, an almost clairvoyant understanding of momentum shifts and tactical vulnerabilities. He approaches tennis less like a sport and more like an intricate, multidimensional puzzle, where every point is a new variable, every game a chapter in a meticulously planned narrative. He once openly admitted to studying opponents' subtle psychological tells for hours off-court, treating matches like intricate chess problems rather than athletic contests. This level of premeditation transforms the spontaneous chaos of a tennis match into a controlled experiment, where Medvedev is the lead scientist, meticulously adjusting variables, observing reactions, and guiding the outcome with a chilling precision. He understands that the true battle is not always fought with blistering aces or crushing forehands, but with the relentless application of pressure, the subtle shift in court positioning, the unforeseen trajectory of a ball that lands inches from the baseline, just enough to elicit a groan, a muttered curse, a crack in the opponent's unwavering facade. He plays the entire court as a unified field, shrinking it for himself, expanding it for his opponent, a master of spatial manipulation. His game plan often starts even before the first serve, a quiet, almost meditative absorption of the opponent's tendencies, their strengths, their fears, which then informs every single decision, every subtle adjustment, until the game itself becomes an extension of his will. This isn't just winning. It's an exercise in algorithmic dominance, where the human element is slowly, expertly stripped away, leaving only the cold, hard logic of Medvedev's calculated triumph. He doesn't just adapt. He pre-adapts, often several steps ahead, his mind a labyrinth of possibilities, each pathway leading to an inevitable, preordained conclusion. Beyond the perplexing strokes and the strategic supercomputer mind lies his exceptional defensive prowess, a seemingly impenetrable barrier that transforms his side of the court into an unyielding fortress. His lanky frame, which might suggest gangliness, instead grants him an astonishing reach, an elasticity that allows him to contort and stretch into positions no human should comfortably occupy, sending back shots that have already been mentally tallied as winners by his opponents. His almost supernatural ability to track down seemingly impossible shots stems from a uniquely low center of gravity and an unparalleled endurance, often making opponents feel they are playing against an entire wall. This isn't merely returning a ball. It's retrieving lost causes, denying closure, and forcing the adversary into an existential crisis of effort. He extends rallies not just to win points, but to extract energy, to sow seeds of doubt, to cultivate a profound sense of futility in those across the net. The calm demeanor that often cloaks his intense competitive fire only amplifies this effect. While opponents visibly strain, grunt, and rage against the perceived injustice of his returns, Medvedev remains an unreadable sphinx, his expression a mask of detached concentration. This composure is not apathy. It is a weapon, a testament to his intelligence and emotional control, allowing him to operate within the tempest of a high-stakes match with the serene focus of a monk. He absorbs the crowd's energy, the opponent's frustration, and converts it into fuel for his own relentless grind. Top stars, accustomed to breaking lesser wills, often find themselves trapped in a labyrinth of their own making, their powerful shots absorbed and redirected with monotonous precision, their aggression turned back upon them. It's not just that he is difficult to break down physically. He is almost impossible to break mentally. The frustration he elicits is a slow poison, dripping into the opponent's resolve with every extended rally, every retrieved smash, every perfectly placed passing shot after what seemed like an impossible retrieval. He doesn't just win points. He wins skirmishes for the soul, slowly chipping away at the opponent's belief until the final, inevitable collapse. This mastery of defensive attrition transforms his matches into a test of patience, endurance, and mental fortitude that few are equipped to withstand. The court becomes a vast expanse, and Medvedev, a relentless, shadowy figure, capable of appearing everywhere at once. His presence a constant, suffocating reminder that every effort, every ounce of power, may ultimately be in vain. His game is a psychological grind, designed to dismantle not just the opponent's game plan, but their very spirit. The true testament to this singular force manifests in the crucible of Grand Slam finals, where the pressure intensifies to mythical proportions and legends are forged or shattered. Medvedev, with a chilling regularity, finds himself at the precipice of these monuments, a frequent challenger to the established pantheon. His journey to these ultimate stages is always a path of calculated attrition, systematically dismantling the hopes and strategies of all who stand in his way. He has appeared in 5 Grand Slam finals, a staggering achievement that underlines his consistent, high-level performance on the biggest stages. But it was in the echoing stadium of the U.S. Open, a cathedral of hard-court tennis, that the full, terrifying scope of his methodical genius was laid bare for all the world to witness. In 2021, the tennis universe held its breath, witnessing a titan, Novak Djokovic, on the cusp of an unprecedented calendar Grand Slam, a feat so rare it borders on the mythical. The narrative was written, history awaited its coronation. But Medvedev, the silent architect, the relentless algorithm, had a different script. He entered that final knot as an underdog hoping for an upset, but as a predestined force, an agent of inevitable disruption. From the first serve, a subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the atmosphere occurred. Djokovic, the man who had conquered every challenge, began to falter, not from a lack of skill, but from an inability to penetrate the impenetrable wall that was Medvedev. Every power shot returned, every angle covered, every aggressive move absorbed and neutralized. The unorthodoxy became an unanswerable riddle, the strategic depth a suffocating embrace. Medvedev moved with a predatory grace, placing balls with such precise indifference that Djokovic's frustration mounted with each passing game. The crowd, initially roaring for history, slowly quieted, a collective unease settling over them as they watched the inexorable unraveling of a legend. It wasn't a battle of wills. It was a demonstration of a superior, almost alien logic. Medvedev served for the championship, the silence in the stadium thick with a palpable tension. He double faulted on his first match point, a momentary flicker of human error. But then, as if resetting an internal clock, he steadied himself, delivering a final, clinical serve that sealed not just a U.S. Open title, but the denial of one of sport's most revered achievements. He didn't just win, he stopped history. The moment of triumph was devoid of extravagant celebration, a simple, almost chilling acknowledgement of a task completed. It was a victory not born of raw emotion, but of pure, calculated execution, a testament to a mind that can remain utterly unperturbed by the magnitude of the moment. This was not a hero's journey. It was the manifestation of a pre-programmed destiny, a stark reminder that even the most cherished narratives can be undone by an entirely different, colder intelligence. The lingering image was not of joy, but of a quiet, almost unsettling competence. The crowd was left not in celebration, but in a profound state of cognitive dissonance, witnessing the demolition of an expected future by a force they still struggled to comprehend. His performance wasn't just a win. It was a revelation of a new kind of power, a power that doesn't just overcome, but utterly redefines the very landscape of competition. Medvedev continues to stand as a colossus on the hard courts, a figure whose very presence implies a fundamental shift in the tectonic plates of tennis. He is the quiet storm, the tactical vortex, a player whose brilliance lies not in blinding flashes, but in the relentless, slow burn of inevitability. His intelligence, his uncanny ability to read a match, to frustrate even the most decorated champions, has woven him into the fabric of the sport as a formidable, almost mystical opponent. He isn't merely winning. He is altering the perception of what winning looks like, stripping away the romanticism of pure athletic prowess and replacing it with the cold, hard efficiency of strategic domination. The top stars, once seemingly invincible, now approach matches against him with a visible tremor of apprehension, knowing that they face not just another player, but an intricate, living puzzle designed specifically to exploit their deepest vulnerabilities. He has established a legacy not just through trophies, but through the profound psychological imprint he leaves on those who dare to cross his path. His calm demeanor, often mistaken for apathy, is in fact the eye of a storm, a tranquil surface above a maelstrom of calculated intent. He embodies the future, A future where the human spirit might grapple with an opponent whose greatest weapon is not brawn, but an almost unsettling degree of intellectual superiority. He forces us to question our assumptions about the sport, about heroes, about what it truly means to be a champion. His story is far from over, each match a new chapter in the ongoing legend of a player who seems to operate on a different plane of existence. His hard-court reign is a testament to the power of the unconventional, a chilling reminder that the path to supremacy isn't always through brute force, but sometimes through an elegant, almost terrifying intellect. The whispers persist, growing louder with every victory, every final he reaches, every time he systematically dismantles an icon. They speak of a player who doesn't just play the game, but who understands it on a level beyond mere mortals. A player who sees the strings pulling the puppets. Perhaps the most terrifying opponent isn't one who outplays you, but one who unmakes you.